Hello, my name is Shaikh. Here I present a content analysis on sport coach education programs, published internationally from 2010 to 2019. This study was part of a larger project that we did with the Coaching Association of Canada. Sport coach education programs, or CEPs, are one of the most commonly used structured environments to promote coach development. In Canada and the UK, much work has been done on the design, development, delivery, and consistency of CEPs on a national level. However, in many other countries, sports CEPs differ considerably in their implementation. The purpose of this study was to synthesize the current literature on this topic to understand the nature of these programs and the research conducted with them. To begin the study, we searched for all empirical articles of CEPs published internationally. We searched across 5 different languages that our reviewers were experts in. From 8 databases, we funneled relevant records through a double screening process to end up with 70 records selected for inclusion in this study. From each record, data were extracted into several categories. Categories were constructed either from existing classifications in the literature or inductively throughout extraction. These categories were then quantified, and descriptive and frequency statistics were calculated using SPSS. Now getting into the results. Here's a quick global look at where the CEPs in the selected literature were situated. When we look at the selected records by country, a quarter were from the UK, followed by the US with about 18% of programs, and Australia with 10%. Over half the total participants across these studies were male coaches, while a significantly smaller portion were female coaches. The average age range was between 23 and 36 years old, and coaching experience ranged as high as 19 years. Commonly, the athletes coached by these participants were most often children or adolescents, with a smaller portion of coaches working with adult athletes. A good proportion of studies were based in the soccer sport context, which is unsurprising given the global popularity of the sport. Another large proportion of studies were in mixed sports contexts. CEPs were also situated in several other sport contexts like basketball, rugby, track and field, and baseball. Organizational context refers to groups or people responsible for initiating and delivering these programs and the goals of these programs for sports stakeholders. A large portion of CEPs were initiatives part of a research program, and to a lesser extent were programs offered by a community or government organization or part of an accreditation scheme from a sport governing body. About 13% of programs were offered by educational institutions like universities. In terms of delivery, 80% of studies concerned programs that were delivered in person, through a course or workshop setting. To a lesser extent, programs were exclusively online or offered a blended strategy of both online and in-person education. 37% of studies included a post-workshop component, like mentoring, ongoing consultation, or observation and feedback with coach educators. The domains or areas of coach competencies that were focused on in these programs included building coaches' interpersonal skills and leadership styles, overall development of coaching as a profession, building competencies to teach life skills, or focusing inwards by building reflection skills and coaching philosophies. Over half the studies in our review used semi-structured interviews to collect data. Another smaller portion used Likert questionnaires, and to a lesser extent were the use of observations like rating systems and field notes, and focus groups to collect data with participants. The research objectives or foci of our selected studies were classified into 3 distinct categories. Implementation included results involving the design and delivery of CEPs, and strategies that made it easier for coach educators to deliver programming. Outcomes referred to effectiveness or impact of the program, and changes to knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors of coaches and coaches' impacts on athletes. And then process factors involved results that linked implementation factors to outcome factors. So here, any results related to facilitators or challenges to learning that were perceived by the coach participants. Across studies, outcome factors were most commonly a research focus, reported in 87% of studies. This study helped generate greater understandings on the nature of CEPs globally and the original research conducted with them. Some insights are also gained on areas of improvement for CEP research. For instance, given the heavy focus on outcomes in CEPs, we'd suggest also focusing on process and implementation factors to explore the different strategies that may facilitate or constrain CEP effectiveness. More research could also focus on existing CEPs, especially online delivery, which can offer useful insights given today's virtually driven climate. Thank you for listening. If you'd like more information, please reach me at my contact info below.